Hello and happy Monday to all. Welcome into the PHLY Phillies podcast. Jamie Lynch, Renee Washington, Tyler Zulli with you on this Monday. And yes, Renee, I have officially started the countdown clock app on my phone.
That's not what I thought you were going to say, Jamie.
Because each day we were going back and forth and like literally counting down the days and figuring it out. And I went, there's a better way. We might as well just download the app. So I downloaded the Countdown app today, Renee. And if this stupid ad gets out of my face...
See? If you calculated it manually...
I'm not paying $3.99 for the premium version. I'll just go with the freebie. We have officially 16 days until Phillies pitchers and catchers. 59 days until opening day on March 28th.
Woo!
So 16 days... till baseball salvation. And yes, please head to allphly.com if you're thinking about heading. Go to the events tab. We have an awesome trip going on with Philly Sports Trips, our friends over there. You can join us. They have self-travel plans. They have prepackaged travel plans. They have a bunch of different tierings. But what you're going to get from Vince and Philly Sports Trips is a mindless great vacation where he will give you transportation, tickets, hotels, parties, all that and more. You don't even have to think a little bit. So check that out on allphly.com. Go to the events tab. It's in mid-March, and we're only 16 days away from Clearwater, the popping of the mitt. Now, look, on February 14th, nothing is really going to happen. But we do get to see those. I love it. Like when you get the 5 or 6 guys pitching in a row and you just hear the mitt popping left and right, and the coaches leaning back against the wall, taking notes, talking to guys, and baseball. It's just the mark of baseball being back, even though nothing really happens.
So, hello, everybody. Lisette, Mickey, Dave, Matt, Chris. Our first one in the chat today is Chris. Listen, guys, I have my countdown to 15 days because the way that I operate, if you guys know me well enough with my Hallmark mug, actually, I still have my Hallmark tumbler right here, too, by the way.
Oh, God.
Listen, I feel like the trip starts when you get on the plane. Just like when you went to Florida this past weekend, and sorry that it didn't go as planned. I hate to bring up the bitter topic. We were giving live updates on the show. You'll be happy to know.
Yeah.
When you have a trip somewhere,
American Airlines,
the trip starts when you get to the airport. Like that's it. You're off. You're OOO in your away message for your emails and out of office. You're on the flight. So to me, Phillies pitchers and catchers report in 15 days because that's when they get on the flight to Clearwater.
Yeah, but that does nothing for us. So it's 16 days because February 14th, we don't count reporting day.
So they report February 13th, but training officially starts the 14th. As you mentioned, it's not even going to be much on the 14th either.
No.
But as we get to have Valentine's Day, we get to also get back to loving baseball.
Yeah, and hello to everybody here in the chat, Chris and Matt and Dave P., Mickey and Lisette. Welcome in, everyone. Yes, just sweet 16 days till
Sweet
baseball
16.
salvation.
Do you know that show?
No.
Sweet 16.
No.
You don't know that show. Tyler, do you know that show? Come on, Tyler. I'm rooting for you.
No.
Dang it. Everybody I've been rooting for the last 24 hours has let me down.
Yeah, sorry. So I got a little taste of that Florida weather this past weekend. Man.
You do look tan. I know in the chat they were mentioning that you've got a little color to you.
I was out on the golf course a lot.
Tan Jamie.
But the weather, oh man. For late January, early February, it's just like, why do I live in the Northeast? I question that every time I go somewhere warm because I hate winter.
I've been hearing that a lot lately from people.
I think Four Seasons is good for like the human nature.
Yeah. Well,
but
my thing
I
is,
hate it.
See, I just feel like the winter holidays would be weird in warm weather. And I've celebrated Christmas and winter holidays in Florida, for example. And it's just weird. I just correlate winter holidays like Christmas, Thanksgiving, even New Year's with snow or cold weather or, big jackets and pajamas and fireplaces and stuff. Like, I don't correlate it with shorts and beaches. So I think personally, it's the holidays, naturally, no surprise there. But also, like you mentioned, I do get seasonal fatigue, I guess you can say, where after a while I get tired of one season, I'm ready for the next. And I love fall and spring. And for the Florida time, like to not have a fall or a spring where it's like that light jacket season, sweater still, but like you don't need to have a heavy jacket or scarf. Oh, that's such an apple cider and like pumpkins and stuff. Like that wouldn't be the same in Florida with palm trees.
Yeah, but it's pretty nice to look at palm trees, I'll tell you that. So you can join us hopefully in mid-March if you're able and willing. And yes, MBD, most Philadelphians fly into Tampa when they head over to Clearwater. If I remember, it's like a 45 hour drive.
Oh, great question, though, that Matt has. What an awesome question. How many transfusions? How many?
Are we counting the singles or doubles?
What?
Because we were double transfusioning out on the course. Got to stay hydrated.
Okay.
Transfusions for the weekend, I would probably say exceeded 10. Maybe 11, 10 or 11 transfusions. I'm not going to count the beers because I don't want to admit that stuff publicly. There was a lot of them. And some high noons as well.
Ooh,
I even mixed
classy.
in a rum runner once because when in Rome, you're looking out at the water and the fish and the lighthouse. Let's get a rum runner in the mix.
Yeah, that's what I will absolutely be drinking as soon as we get to the airport for Clearwater.
Yeah, so it was great. So 16 days away from spring training. Very excited for that coming up. So let's get into some Phillies talk, and then we got a lot to get to today. We have some prospect update rankings. Hector Neris makes a move in Major League Baseball. We'll get down on the farm reports today, and then, of course, we'll do Guess That Swing and Daily Positivity to close out the day. Only 4 more Daily Positivities left.
And how many more Guess That Swings?
By the way, today's going to be Fail That Swing. This is the hardest one we've had by far.
Come on, Tyler.
Great.
Just put a damper on the entire show.
Well, no,
We're 8 minutes in.
But then if you get it, you're a genius.
I'm not going to get it. If Tyler said
And it's not a pitcher. I promise you it's not a pitcher.
No.
Okay.
Oh,
All right.
no.
Jay, what up?
Tyler and I did ridiculous. I was doing trivia with him after the show on Friday just for fun because that's what we do. And he was answering the most ridiculous trivia questions ever that I was reading the question and didn't even know the answer. Like, if he's saying it's challenging, that's
we're
it.
Screwed.
The show's over. That's it, guys. Have a nice day.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So I wanted to read this one little update from courtesy of Todd Zalecki's newsletter about the Rhys Hoskins effect on the ticket sales that started up last Thursday at 10 a.m. And reminder for you, if you're looking to get some Phillies individual game tickets, those are on sale on the website now and are live. But Todd says that the Brewers series, and he was talking about the connection that Rhys Hoskins, for whatever reason, whether it be his community effort, just kind of getting and understanding us, his kind of clutch play, whatever, really connected with the city. And to back up his point, he said that the June 3rd opening game series versus the Milwaukee Brewers sold 1,500 tickets on Thursday, or at least since Thursday to Sunday. He said, to put that in perspective, a typical Monday opening game series in mid-June would have sold normally between 300 and 400 tickets. Also, to put it in perspective, the Cole Hamels retirement ceremony sold 2,100 tickets. So Rhys had a serious effect on those ticket sales, and it just kind of puts into perspective how much Phillies fans really, kind of enjoyed his time overall here and want to get to the ballpark to send him off well.
It is the Rhys Hoskins effect. I saw all over Twitter. I know, Lisette, in the chat, you're saying that you're going on the 4th. All over Twitter, I was seeing people tweeting about, got my tickets, can't wait to see Rhys back at Citizens Bank Park. It's great to see. It's sad to see. I also had a moment where there was this, I don't know if you saw this video. I started to send it to you guys. It was Rhys Hoskins' bat spike, but they edited it, revised it so that as he was spiking the bat, it transitioned into him in a Milwaukee Brewers jersey. And it was really cool, but it was really depressing at the same time. Yeah. And it took a moment that we have in our in our minds that's a staple of Rhys. I made it a Brewers thing, so that part I didn't like, but it looked sick. So it's the reality, guys. And the fact that people are buying tickets means, as you say, through the roof buying tickets. Rhys will always have a special place in our hearts.
Yeah.
And so I'm not surprised by it. I will say there were some other things that came out that I was reading just about the process for Rhys Hoskins going to the Brewers. Now, I know I was one that was very surprised because we had only heard for the majority of the Cubs, the Giants. We didn't hear much about
the Brewers kind of were lurking in the shadows a little bit.
Yeah, and it was a complete surprise. Now, the Brewers did have a chance for their GM, Matt Arnold, to come out and talk about the process. So he was interviewed on Major League Baseball Network radio and discussing the deal. He said, of course, it took some time. It is not a surprise, the slowness, given the market, given this time in the offseason, that the deals don't happen quickly. Now, for Arnold and Hoskins, of course, Scott Boras was as his agent, involved heavily, but also involved heavily in a lot of discussions around the Hall of Fame release. So because of the class of 2024 Hall of Fame being announced last week, that actually delayed some things in the process because it took time for Matt Arnold and Scott Boras to be able to have a conversation, which, understandably so. Business, you want to take your time and work through it best for each of your clients. So he was saying they had to stay in touch with the group. They continue to try to work to find middle ground. And then after, as they were working through the Hall of Fame timeline of announcements, they did have a conversation. And after 20 minutes, they upped the offer for Rhys and then decided to reconvene later that day after the Hall of Fame announcements. And then that night is when the news leaked. You were awake for that night as the news broke about Rhys going to Milwaukee.
5 after 11.
But it leaked at that point because they were still having the Brewers owner was speaking with Scott on the day of the Hall of Fame announcement. So it wasn't actually supposed to come out that night, it seems, but it got leaked that night because the offer was upped. There was a 20-minute conversation. The information got out. But the Brewers felt Rhys is the kind of guy they needed. Of course, as we know what Rhys can bring to a team, they talked about that too as a person on and off the field, how he's going to be someone that can add.
So I'm sure Matt Klentak vouched for him in every way possible.
Exactly. And that's what they were saying with his track record and the type of person he is. They absolutely wanted him. They wanted to make that discussion happen. But the Hall of Fame announcement was really the big delaying factor on their end. Of course, also just trying to find middle ground. So I'm curious now because they said they had to up the offer for Rhys. I wonder what the offer was before for Rhys prior to the Hall of Fame announcement. Because
that means another club had some decent money on the table for him. So it was, whether it be the Giants or Cubs or whoever. We will get to the Cubs move in a little bit as they did finally do a little something.
Also, did you know that Rhys is not going to be wearing number 17?
No.
They indicated he's going to be wearing number 12.
Okay.
So I think it's good for him.
Yeah.
It's a new chapter. It was Jim Gantner was another reason why, but in honor of Jim Gantner, he decided not to wear number 17 with the Brewers. But I think for Rhys, you're starting a new chapter. You're going somewhere else. Go out and get a new vibe and get a new number. So I always love to hear, I don't know about you guys, I'm fascinated by the workings of deals and how they happen and when they're, the timeline of what happened behind the scenes that we don't know. So it's interesting because I didn't realize the Hall of Fame announcement would have delayed the process in a sense.
Well, the Hall of Fame announcement is what got me watching Ken Burns baseball, which kept me up late.
There you go.
On Rhys Hoskins.
You would have missed it.
All right, so the top 100 prospect lists are starting to come out. Now, Baseball America has released theirs. MLB Pipeline has released theirs. Depending on which you're looking at, we're going to talk a little bit of prospects here because it just shows you the wide-ranging scope of prospect evaluations and basically what an inexact science it is. Ryan Howard was once like the Phillies' 24th ranked prospect and found himself on the Wall of Fame in center field. So it doesn't really matter. Nobody knows. It's all a crapshoot. You got to get lucky sometimes. Sometimes being lucky is better than being good. So MLB Pipeline Friday night released their top 100 prospects in baseball. And I didn't look at the full list, but I'm sure Jackson Holliday is probably number one. 4 Phillies made MLB Pipeline's top 100 prospects. These are guys we're all going to be talking about in the next coming 10 days as we are doing our Down on the Farm report. Finally, we're at number 10 now. I think this is where the names start getting pretty exciting.
Oh, yeah.
So the 4 guys, to no surprise of many out there, is MLB Pipelines. Coming in at number 27 is right-handed pitcher Andrew Painter, who we won't see pitch this year.
I just don't love the fact that the highest ranked prospect for the Phillies, before you get to the rest of the list, is a prospect that we're not going to see in 2024 in Andrew Painter. But go ahead, continue.
But
I'll let you finish.
That's how highly regarded he is. Number 49, right-handed pitcher Mick Abel comes in. Now this is interesting because some have it inverted. Number 61 on MLB Pipeline's rankings of the top 100 prospects is shortstop / third baseman Aiden Miller. The University of Arkansas product is skyrocketing up through the Phillies system. Got his national recognition here from MLB Pipeline. And then number 77, outfielder Justin Crawford. So the 4 prospects in the top 100 is the first time they've had 4 since 2018, I believe it was, when they had 6 back in 2018. And now this exercise is going to show you a lot about pearl clutching when it comes to prospects. The 6 they had in 2018, Sixto Sanchez. I don't wish injury upon him, but it looks like he's never going to pan out. This is his make or break year. Scott Kingery. J.P. Crawford, who turned into a pretty nice player now for Seattle, obviously. Adonis Medina. Mickey Moniak. And Adam Hazley. So, of that list of 6 guys, 1 really turned into a decent player.
And I just want to add in, because that list that was put out, shout out to Phil's Tailgate for putting that out, with the top prospects for the Phillies every year going back to 2016. When you look at that list, the names that jump out at you, it's very few names that actually jump out that panned out for the Phillies. Alec Bohm,
most
Bryson
prospects
Stott,
don't pan out.
And it was several names, as you were mentioning, that did not. So again, like when you look at that list, 2016 is less than 10 years ago. You know, we're not talking about ever, but in the last 8 years, the amount of prospects that, you know, have been ranked in the top 100. These are not just prospects. These are top 100 ranked prospects, ranked as high as number 5 for J.P. Crawford, number 19 for Mickey Moniak. Alec Bohm was number 30. Bryson Stott was number 45 at his highest in 2022. And yet you see the discrepancy of who actually panned out and who didn't. There's no way to fully know.
Yeah.
But that's why we always say we don't get tied to prospects, because at number 45 for Bryson Stott in 2022, who would have thought he'd be the Bryson Stott that we have even argued could be leadoff hitter?
I mean, in 2016, they had even more than that. J.P. Crawford, again, we know he turned into a nice player. Jake Thompson, okay. Nick Williams. Mark Appel. No. Cornelius Randolph. Jorge Alfaro, who serviceable career, but the rest are misses. And you can go through the whole list. I mean, Spencer Howard. You can't trade Spencer Howard. He was number 34 in baseball in 2020. He was number 42 the following year in 2021. The guy couldn't run to first base without needing a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So can we just put in perspective what these rankings actually mean? Most of these guys don't pan out.
There are multiple factors here. There's the J.P. Crawfords that actually play, but they don't, it's not here that we see them most successful. Then there's the guys that actually pan out for the Phillies. I mean, my thought is a prospect, you want to have them develop for the Phillies, not for another team in Alec and Bryson. And then there's the several that just have not. I know, Tyler, you've got a great stat that you want to share about how many of these players have actually become an all-star.
Yeah, so the 2016 draft specifically, which was the one that Mickey Moniak went number 1 overall for. Do you guys know how many players in the first round, so meaning the first grouping of picks, and the compensatory round, plus you could even add the competitive balance round A to that list? That's 41 picks.
41 picks. How many have been all-stars?
How many have been all-stars?
I'm going to say 1.
It is 1.
Yeah,
do you know who it is?
No.
It is. It's Will Smith. Dodgers catcher Will Smith. Now, here's some of the other names that have been drafted, that were drafted that year, that have become major league players. Nick Senzel, Ian Anderson, A.J. Puck, Braxton Garrett, Cal Quantrill. So, like, it's a list of guys who made the major leagues. Alex Kirilloff, Gavin Lux. So, like, it's not like they're all a bunch of bums.
Right.
They are major league players, and drafting in Major League Baseball's draft is impossible to figure out. But the point is, like, this is such an inexact science, to the fact that one player in the top 41 has been an all-star, but you had 3 second-round picks make the all-star team, 4 third-round picks, 2 fourth-round picks, a 9th-round pick, a 10th-round pick. Like, and David Bednar went 1,044th, and he's been an all-star multiple times. So, like, there's such an inexact science to it that it really is hard to justify the, like you said, Jamie, the pearl clutching of most prospects.
You just don't know. I mean, as you mentioned, 1 first-round pick in 2016. We've also seen times where draft classes in general just aren't good, or the opposite, where you have a really talented draft class coming out. There's just so many factors, not to mention, as you just pointed out, how many were underrated that ended up actually being able to play in Major League Baseball or even be an all-star. So just so many, that's why I'm never huge on, for any sport, on the young players, because you just don't know. Like, I think there's always an upside, there's always potential, but especially for male athletes, they have so much growing to do physically and mentally and maturing.
Half these prospects we've talked about are 5'9", 185 pounds.
Right.
Like, they're not even men yet. It's an inexact science. Now, if you look at Baseball America's list, this shows you the fluctuating difference in prospect lists. And check out that new Sixers hoodie, bottom left corner. Just saying, they're pretty sweet. Baseball America's top 100 list. Number 12, Andrew Painter. So that just shows you the jump right there. MLB Pipeline has him 27. Baseball America has him 12. Justin Crawford at 63. Mick Abel at 64. Aiden Miller not even on Baseball America's.
Number 49 on the other prospect list, and not even on Baseball America's prospect list.
So
like, huge difference.
You know, there's a ton of people
Wild.
that do. There's Baseball Prospectus. There's Fangraphs. There's Baseball America. There's MLB Pipeline. You know, there's some other names that we're not allowed to use. A lot of people do really good work scouting baseball, but there's just no like continuity. Our top 10 is probably slightly different than others' top 10s. And it's just like, you hope some of these guys pan out. So just very interesting to see how the different guys get ranked by the different outlets there.
Well, you know where you guys can go to make sure to always get continuity and consistency? That's Bagels & Co. Because with Bagels & Co., you can always count on getting Brooklyn-style bagels made right here in Philly with Philly love, of course. It's the mom-and-pop shop feel, but also giving you the best variety of bagels. They've got large bagels. They've got 15 to 20 different varieties of bagels you can purchase any day, any given Sunday, any given day when you go into Bagels & Co. They've got options for you. And then on top of that, they've got 30 different cream cheeses. They do seasonal, holiday-specific ones. They do Philly sports specific ones. So you can always go check out a Sixers cream cheese or a Christmas themed cream cheese. So just tremendous. I actually stumbled onto, I had taken a picture of my pork roll and egg sandwich on my rainbow bagel. Don't even know what flavor that rainbow bagel was. It was just flavored deliciousness. I stumbled onto that on my phone this weekend, and I was just foaming at the mouth at the thought of how delicious that was. So over at Bagels & Co., what's great about them, they're an affordable brand. They're convenient. You can get a lot for good price, which in this economy is huge.
In this economy.
As the Jamie Lynch trademark line. But you can make sure to always get delicious brands food, delicious breakfast sandwich, delicious lunch sandwich, delicious dinner as well. So over at Bagels & Co., check them out. Make sure to get the best Brooklyn-style bagels. You can find the location made right here in Philly. Find a location nearest you at thebagelsandco.com. Search for their locations, find one nearby, and take advantage, because at Bagels & Co., it's delicious. It's all types of options for you to kickstart your day and make sure you're eating great for a good price.
Yeah, and you can, maybe jam a bagel in your back pocket when you're going into your favorite event. Save some money on food when you're inside your favorite concert venue. Nothing classier than getting to a Broadway show and busting out your own bagel and cream cheese and just doing it right there.
So classy.
You're not going to get me, the Met, But anyway, if you want to get in the door at your favorite event, I'd recommend using the Game Time app. And code PHLY will get you $20 off your first purchase. I've used it a couple times. Actually, just used it a couple weeks ago for a concert my wife and I went to. It's awesome. It's easy. It's quick. They give you all the favorite tickets for your favorite sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. Killer last-minute deals and their best price guarantee. So you can stop stressing about getting the tickets and just start getting hyped for all the fun you're going to have. Flash deals, last-minute tickets. The image of your seat view is one that is great, especially if you're doing theater or concert and you want to know where you're looking at. So forget planning months in advance. Game Time has deals right up to the day of the event. You can get those exclusive flash deals. And on top of it, they'll give you a Game Time guarantee, which means you're always going to get the best price. If you find the tickets in the same section or row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Tickets always make great gifts for anybody in your life. So snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code PHLY for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, just create an account and redeem code PHLY for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, Tyler, I have a little sicko prospect trade. When J.P. Crawford was traded to the Seattle Mariners, who did they get in return? Because my memory always sucks with this stuff. I had to look this one up. And I know this would put you in the torture chamber.
For J.P. Crawford. Was it 1 for 1?
It was 1 for 3.
1 for 3. So,
well, I think J.P. Crawford went with somebody else. So I think it was J.P. Crawford and Carlos Santana. That's right.
J.P. Crawford and Carlos Santana and you got 3 back?
And you got 3 back. One of them had a fat ass.
Yeah, I was going to say, you got Gene Segura.
Yeah, Gene Segura and his wagon came to Philadelphia.
You definitely got Gene Segura, and then
the other 2 are no names.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, at least to me, they didn't pan out. James Pazos and Juan Nicasio.
Juan Nicasio was they had him for like a handful of seconds, didn't they?
Yeah.
And then they moved him at the trade deadline that year. I forget who.
Oh man, you're diving into Juan Nicasio trade.
They traded him to. Oh no, the year prior. I'm sorry, he was on 3 teams, so they traded him the year prior. And I think he got DFA'd, and then they picked him up, and then they traded him a handful of weeks later.
Basically, you got Gene Segura.
Yeah, in the chat,
Yes.
Hypothetical Man was saying Gene Segura. And Mickey, technically you're correct, it was a pitcher. But also, I wanted to point out while we're talking about
they got
prospects,
Elisier
I want
Alvarez.
to circle back to Hypothetical Man's comment about I'm not clutching my pearls over most prospects, but at the same time, the Phillies have the 3rd highest payroll. You have to supplement the edges of the roster with guys from the pipeline.
And they kind of are right now in a major way. When you consider Bryson Stott, Alec Bohm, we'll see if he gets his extension. That'll change slightly.
Yeah.
Hopefully, Johan Rojas. And Brandon Marsh is still pretty cheap. I know he's not homegrown here, but he's still on that affordable level. So they do have a good balance. That's why you have to pick like the 2 you really believe in most. Yeah. And like to me, if Mick Abel doesn't start the year strong, like I know he's kind of in that 6th starter, possible middle relief. I'm not saying I want to give up on him, but I'm not going to let Mick Abel prevent me from getting somebody that can help us win a title now.
Yeah, I
feel
like
it's a balancing act.
Orion Kerkering, Johan Rojas, definitely 2 players you can absolutely invest in because you can see there's something that's already. I think the key is they already have something major league ready, and they have something else that needs to be refined and tweaked. Versus a player that you have to develop every aspect of their game. So for the next group of prospects, of course, we won't have Andrew Painter, and we won't be able to see him until 2025. He should pan out depending on how he returns and when. Mick Abel can be that. Aiden Miller can be that. So yeah, I do think it needs to be 1 or 2, but the whole philosophy can't be to focus on homegrowns.
Yeah.
And prospects, not to trigger myself for the Philadelphia Union. All right, so. Okay, right. We're on agreement, guys. We're on agreement.
So those were the top 100 lists. I always pay attention where the Phillies guys fall on that list. It's fun stuff. I bought a very nerdy baseball magazine yesterday on my flight home because I I had no headphones. I had no tablets or real smart devices. I was just like straight up raw dog in the flight, and I was like, I need a magazine.
Wait. I'm not gonna pause you on the one comment. I'm just gonna let that roll. Because Tyler and I just exchanged a look. Jamie's back.
Yeah.
Where were your headphones? That's what I'm gonna lock in.
They
I'm gonna
died,
ignore
and I didn't bring the charger.
your AirPods.
Yeah.
Don't you have an iPhone charger?
I use Jabras. They're not AirPods. They're Jabra Elite, so it's like the mini USB guy.
Oh, that's right.
And I didn't have the mini USB and blah, blah, blah. So I went and bought 2 magazines. One was a Golf Digest, and one was Lindy's Baseball Prospectus. It's out there, and I got to tell you, it was nice reading about the Phillies from an outlet, that wasn't very local. They're very high on the Phillies. They actually predicted the Phillies to beat the Braves for the NL East this year.
Ooh.
It was
well,
like
if everything
it was
we've
nice
been,
to read.
If everything we've been manifesting happens, especially like a strong start to the year, it is possible. I
Absolutely.
know every once in a while we have these reality checks. It was when we had #FreeHerb join the show. It was when we had some different articles come out about the rest of the league is trying to catch up to the Phillies. It has reminded us the Phillies are still the top team. Even the rankings we talked about on Friday with the Phillies sitting at number 3 in power rankings behind the Dodgers and the Braves. So I know we are very, overly critical at times because we're so
the
close
offseason
to
has been
it.
boring as shit. And when Colby
and because
Allard,
we want to see something.
Colby Allard's your only move.
You mean that didn't throw you, Jamie?
It didn't
that
really
have
move
you
my needle.
ready to go buy, every possible ticket or a Colby Allard jersey?
But it's good to keep in perspective that most teams in Major League Baseball would love to have our bullpen, would love to have our starting rotation, and would love to have our lineup. And the Phillies are going to straight up compete for a title. And you never know. The Dodgers going out and spending money doesn't guarantee them anything. So
Nope. There's
it was
a lot
just
that will
nice.
happen.
It was a nice baseball perspective to read that
Look at you.
on my flight. Now, one thing you put in the show sheet, which I did not see over the weekend, was MLB.com listed the best player on every single team. So I have in front of me the NL East. Now, Tiger, do you want to go? Tyler, do you want to go? Did I call you Tiger?
Tiger.
Tiger's restaurant was right by one of the places we ate at. I actually ate at Joe Namath's place.
Okay.
So, Tyler, would you like to take a guess on who the Atlanta Braves' best player was listed by
That
MLB?
would be
It's
Ronald
so
Acuna
difficult.
Jr.
Ronald Acuna Jr.?
Correct.
Wow, you got it right.
Genius.
Crazy, I know.
That's good. Marlins. Would you like to take a guess who the Marlins' best player was?
Well, the Marlins' best player should be Luis Ariz. However,
Should be.
Yes,
Right,
you're not
right.
wrong yet, but yes.
the key
he is
word,
not.
which means they either are relying on a bounce back from Sandy Alcantara, which would probably be my guess, or they like one of the young guys and they're going with Yuri Perez.
Well,
Wrong all around.
Sandy's not playing.
He should be coming. He has a chance at coming back, doesn't he?
He has a chance,
So-
but they're going into it with the expectation he's not going to be playing.
Okay, I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
This guy did come up on the trade rumor mill, and the Mets were one team. Now, who knows how much validity was to this? The Mets were named as a possible team that's making calls or keeping an eye on him.
I was going to go with such a different hint, but
It was
I like that
it was a
hint.
breakout season for him. Ooh, Tyler's stumped. I like when Tyler gets stumped.
Yeah, Alcantara did have Tommy John.
Yeah. So I probably should
thought
have
he had a chance
rephrased
to-
I
that.
was
like
going to go with the
second
hint
half.
of one of Kanye West's classic early songs. Now, his name's pronounced differently. but
Nobody
it's-
mess with the Jesus, man.
Jesus Luzardo.
Yes.
Okay.
See?
A 3.3 WAR.
Luzardo was
MLB.com
correct.
says that is the Marlins' best player. We'll see if he's a Marlin for long. It says his breakout season was long anticipated, coming several years after he was one of the top pitching prospects in baseball. With Alcantara sidelined for Tommy John surgery, the Marlins need him, who is projected to get a 3.74 ERA.
That Marlins rotation is kind of sneaky disgusting, by
Yeah,
the
it's
way.
really good.
Sadly.
All right,
You add
Tyler.
Braxton Garrett to the mix, like it's a good group.
I know.
Yeah. Take a guess at the Mets.
Francisco Lindor.
You are correct.
Lindor.
Who had his major bounce back
Lindor.
last year, more to the back of his true baseball card. Kind of had a slump his first year there with the Mets. Is this another like 90s reference I don't get?
Yeah, Tyler got it, I think, right away.
Okay. I don't what is it?
It's SpongeBob.
Of course it's SpongeBob. Every time they talk about something I don't understand, it's usually SpongeBob.
It was when SpongeBob was trying to stay indoors. He was scared of the outside because he got beat up. So he didn't want to leave his
Okay.
He didn't want to leave his house. So
Who beat up SpongeBob?
a gorilla.
A gorilla under the sea.
Well, that was one of the. Remember that? That was a funny part of it. They realized after he beat him up and was because it was the gorilla that beat him up.
Who's not going to get their ass kicked by a gorilla?
And then I think it was Sandy that was like, "Wait a minute, how are you under the sea and you're a gorilla?" And then it was like,
and then it took off running.
And they took off running. Yeah. It was such a great episode.
I'll take your word for it. Thing of all time.
Every once in a while, they'd have these moments with crossover, like what's possible, and that was one of them. And then they broke the fourth wall and were like, "Wait a minute, you're a gorilla. How are you breathing right now underwater?"
That's a great point.
And then yes, K_red.
He got you. All I know about SpongeBob is the memes.
With Penny.
And I don't understand most of them.
Penny and Chip.
But
it
I
was
appreciate
SpongeBob,
them.
Penny and Chip.
Sure. All right, Tyler, take a guess at the Nationals' best listed player.
See, this is a difficult one.
Yeah.
Because there's a bunch of dudes that I think are good players.
Lane Thomas.
They're a bad team, like Lane Thomas, for example.
I wanted the Phillies to get him last year.
Like
Bad.
Stone Garrett, for example. Like C.J. Abrams, for example. I don't know if they're going to lean a position player or if they lean a starting pitcher on this one. But I think a guy that is ready to take the next step, I don't know if that means that they like him or not, is Josiah Gray.
That is not the answer.
Here's the hint I want to give in honor of Jamie's fandom of one of his favorite actors ever. This guy shares the same birth name as our favorite Fast and Furious actor, Mr. Walker.
I don't even know what Paul Walker's first name is. Is it? Wait, do you mean his last name?
The player shares the same first name as Paul Walker, a.k.a. Paul.
Are you saying Paul is his actual name?
Mm-hmm.
Is it?
What?
Yeah.
That's a nickname?
Apparently that's his name.
What?
Did you know that?
It's C.J. Abrams.
Apparently his first name
C.J.
is Paul.
Abrams' name is Paul?
Christopher.
Paul Christopher?
I'm not.
Where'd
that's
they
what
get
Google
CJ
says.
from?
He was born as, I guess, because he's Christopher Abrams Jr. So maybe they call him CJ. But allegedly on the Google, his first name is actually Paul Christopher Abrams Jr. Oh, I stumped everybody.
Yeah, well, yeah, because nobody knew that.
Cool.
C.J.
You all
Abrams
learned
is
something
correct,
new.
though, yes.
I thought that was going to be an easy clue.
So, friends,
apparently that was really difficult.
What we're gathering from that is the Nationals are going to stink again this year.
Yeah, the Nationals are going to be a very bad baseball team.
He's only 23.
Now, Tyler.
C.J. Abrams is going to be a good player, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I think that they're still years away.
So this turned into Tyler quiz section, me reading
Which
the
I
list.
like.
I think the Phillies one is a quasi-tough. I don't think it's an immediate.
I actually was surprised by this one, too.
They probably picked Trey Turner or Zach Wheeler. And the answer is Bryce Harper, but
I agree.
I'm
the answer is
assuming they
Bryce
probably
Harper.
went with Turner or Wheeler.
They picked Zach Wheeler.
And I was really surprised by this. Now, we do know Zach is one of the best pitchers in the league. And that's exactly what they said. Few pitchers have been better than Wheeler since he signed a 5-year, $118 million deal with the Phillies after the 2019 season. Now entering the final year on his contract, which hopefully gets extended, he's projected to record a 3.54 ERA and 200 strikeouts with the second most WAR among pitchers in 2024. He's sitting at a 4.7 WAR. I was thinking it was going to be Bryce. As I was like scrolling through reading the piece, I definitely thought they were going to go Bryce Harper. But Zach also does make sense. But I still think I would have gone Bryce.
So I think that if you're going to pick between a position player and a starting pitcher, the starting pitcher has to be, I think, exponentially better than the position player because the position player is playing every day.
Right.
And
that's the issue.
To me, there is...
Yes, I think Bryce has a bigger impact over the course of the season.
Yeah.
I think that there's only a handful of starting pitchers that you could go to and say that they are genuinely their team's best player. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, I don't even know if Garrett Cole, who I think is the best pitcher in baseball, is the best player on the Yankees anymore.
He's not listed according to
with Juan
list.
Soto and Aaron Judge being on that team. I'm not sure that so if the best pitcher in baseball is not the best player on his team, that sets a standard for the rest of this exercise to follow.
Good point. And to be honest, a lot of these best players are not pitchers.
I think
because
they're
the Yankees.
Are they going strictly by WAR? Because the Cubs have 2 players listed.
So
who must have tied
this
in WAR.
list
Maybe
is
it's a WAR
based
list.
off of. Wait, it is based off of
Strictly
projected players for all 30 teams. Yeah, by WAR. It's strictly based off of their WAR. Because
okay.
yes, so that is something to preface it with.
So Zach Wheeler was 4.7 last year. If Bryce Harper falls back into his norm, he should be in that 5 or 6 range. If he's at MVP form, he could be in that 7 to 9 range.
So
Right.
last year, if you take out Shohei Ohtani because his pitching WAR was, significant compared to add to his already incredible season. Last year, there were 27 players who posted a 5 WAR or better.
27. Bryce Harper can absolutely be that.
Bryce Harper posted he's not in the top 50.
I was going to say, even in his limited amount of appearances, it was like 4 something, wasn't it? He must have been just below
It was a
Wheeler.
3.7.
3.7. Okay.
Wow.
Tied for 65th.
Yeah, and
so-
I mean, honestly, most of these names, you've got Mookie Betts, Corbin Carroll, Juan Soto. It's not pitchers. You've got
So if this
Julio
is,
Rodriguez.
if this is the
obviously.
case, then if it's just WAR, then Garrett Cole is the Yankees' pick.
He's not actually. They have Juan Soto listed, 6.7 WAR.
Garrett Cole had a 7.5.
Well, then it might be projected WAR as well.
It is some
list becomes
projections
confusing.
based on FanGraphs. This is why, and we talked about this on Friday. These types of lists need a good old fashioned rubric and a grading. Do you know what a rubric is, Jamie? We talked about this on Friday. Tyler didn't know what it was.
Rubric? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but
we
so,
need
yeah.
we need clear like here's what this is based on. But it does say actually in the blurb, it's the steamer projections on FanGraphs. It's WAR.
That makes
heading
more
into
sense.
2024.
Because in FanGraphs WAR, Garrett Cole was a 5.2. So
Yeah.
it's their projected WAR total.
So we have a guest coming on Wednesday, a local guy named Michael Bauman who writes for Fangraphs occasionally. One of the things I want to ask him is like, what's the nerdiest thing you guys do? Because like
Yeah,
that is a
there's so
nerdy,
many.
a baseball seam head nerd heaven. And like, some of these things, like I love the projected wars
Yeah, like, how
and
do
stuff
you-
like that. So we'll ask Michael about some of these real deep nerdy things that Fangraphs does because we all love it. All right, let's go down on the farm.
Down on the farm.
Today, we get to the number 10 mark.
I'm excited about this one.
So now, the prospects become really exciting on the outside. I missed Fridays, which was Andrew Baker, and Tyler's text message back to me was, dude's trash. So I guess you weren't too optimistic after deep diving
was
Andrew
not.
Baker, huh, Tyler?
Not
he was,
quite, no.
He was ruthless,
What
actually.
did you talk about the name
I
test?
said he's baseball's Happy Gilmore.
We did talk about the name test.
Not really great. Andrew Baker? I mean, Baker is a good baseball name.
What we decided was, and this is what Tyler exactly said, he could be a baseball guy. He could also work at PNC Bank. Like, he could do anything.
Yeah. Andrew Baker
Did
is...
not pass the name. He does have the look, though. He's got a very baseball, like, seeing him with his baseball hat on, it screams baseball player, but it also is very basic. It could be anything.
Okay.
But it would have been a name you could have pronounced, which
Yeah,
sucks.
Andrew Baker would have aced that one.
Yeah.
Now, today's baseball name, spicy. I like it. I think this kid's got a real future ahead of him. Gabriel Rincones Jr. They call him Gabe. Gabe Rincones Jr. Rincones?
According to the internet.
Rincones? Gabe?
I mean, his dad also played.
Yeah,
so
he was a
that's-
minor leaguer for Seattle's system back in the day. Gabe? Come on. That just kind of works.
Well, it helps his dad played, so we've already heard the name connected to baseball.
Yeah, like he
although
sa-
even though he's a minor league baseball
But
player
he
for the
sounds like
Mariners,
a ball player. He
like,
just sounds like one.
Come on, do the announcer test.
Now batting for the Phillies, outfielder / first baseman / possible DH, Gabe Rincones Jr. It works,
Oh, you would
right?
just call him Gabe. You wouldn't call him Gabriel. I like it, though.
Preston Mattingly referred to him as Gabe.
Okay, fair.
So
if
that
Preston called him Gabe, we call him Gabe
Maybe
also.
we'll try to meet up with him at spring training and ask him these hard-hitting questions.
That name works.
Like Nicholas Batum was Nico when asked what you preferred to be called. Who saw that coming? I didn't. All right, so name test. Smoked it. Good start. They call him Gabe. He was drafted in 2022, a
Jeez.
third-round pick. Now, this is another cool story of a kid All right, he's Venezuelan born, but raised in Scotland.
Correct.
He moved to America to pursue his baseball dreams. He was cut by his high school baseball team.
Come on, Michael Jordan.
This kid is basically Michael Jordan. He went on to junior college in Florida for his freshman and sophomore year, showed enough potential that Florida Atlantic University took a shot on him his junior year. Senior year, he ended up getting hurt. After his junior year, he was selected by the Padres in the 19th round. After the sophomore year, he was selected by the Padres in the 19th round, decided to go to Florida Atlantic for his junior year, and it paid off for him because the Phillies ended up taking him in the 3rd round, even though he missed his senior year due to a shoulder injury. He is 22 years old right now, a bigger kid, 6'3", 225. Love that frame. He spent time mostly in low A and is expected to go to Reading this year. His slash line, as Tyler has up for you there, 248, 351, 427. He had 31 doubles, which is really nice to see, 15 home runs and 60 RBIs. He was 32 for 38 in stolen base attempts last year. He is an above average runner, a possible plus power guy, according to Preston Mattingly. Not a very good fielder, but has a cannon of an arm. So he kind of translates, scouts are saying, to corner outfield. He'll have enough pop there to play corner outfield. Maybe first base because of his height. Also possibly a DH if he's able to make it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I liked reading about Gabe.
Yeah, he's a fun read.
He's got a really cool story. So in terms of baseball, as you mentioned, the potential that's been reported, the upside, he can drive the ball into the outfield. Not the greatest fielder, but with work, can move from maybe being that corner outfield spot to a different role. A lot of reports have just indicated the usual. With age, with development, he absolutely can improve. He's got great ability to get on base, and as you saw with the stats, to steal bases as well. So there's a lot of upside to him. He even spoke specifically about things he wants to work on himself. And he mentioned keeping an approach. Yeah, very self-aware, keeping an approach, sticking with one stance swing because he feels like he struggles with that, not chasing numbers, but playing the game right. And he felt like it was more mental stuff at times than anything. And he felt like chasing numbers was also something mental that he's got to get better at. So he spoke a lot about his upbringing, his relationship with his dad. Of course, his dad was a pitcher for a year in the minors with the Mariners. And he said more than anything, his dad helped teach him about the right approach to baseball. He didn't specifically teach him
hard.
Yeah, basically. And so he really worked with him on how to mentally, as we know, the game is so mental. And he said his dad worked with him on understanding hitting is 90% mental. So how to be more, in the moment, be a professional hitter. And so I really think that between just hearing the fact his family lived in Scotland, he lived there for some time and then moved to Venezuela actually before America. He was living with his aunt in Venezuela. Then, of course, lived with a different aunt to be able to go to JUCO. He's put in a lot of time and work, and he seems like he's got a lot of the right stuff, a lot of the potential that you'd like from a prospect. So I think this year is going to be huge for him.
Yeah, it is.
And the ETA on his debut to the majors is 2025. So if all goes according to the timeline, Jamie, this is going to be the year he's going to have that major next step.
Yeah, maybe we'll go see him play at Reading this year. So here's what Preston Mattingly had to say about Gabe, as they affectionately call him. He says that he controls the zone well, and he has a chance at plus, if not plus power. Because of his prior injury, the Phillies were easing him into the outfield last year by splitting time between the corner, outfield, and DH. He shows decent speed on the pass, as we talked about, was mostly in high A jersey, but should be in Reading this year. Preston went on to say, I think when he gets exposed to that higher level pitching and gets more at-bats, he'll be better and better. And he will understand what pitches to do damage on and what pitches to leave alone. I think he's in a really good spotlight right now. A lot of guys come into professional baseball and really struggle. They struggle with the quality of pitching, the pace of the game. But Gabe stepped right in. He transitioned pretty seamlessly. It's been impressive. So Mattingly has some reason to believe that plus power possibility. He has a 90th percentile mark of 106.3 miles per hour off the bat with his exit velocity. So, that's really encouraging, which is, well above his average peers in the Class A level. So Gabe's got, a shot to be a power hitter at this next level if he's able to put it all together. The glaring hole in Gabe's game is he really needs to improve versus left-handed pitchers. He is a left-handed batter, throws right-handed. He struggled versus left-handed pitching. I think he hit 209. So you really want to see that improve this year in Double-A Reading. If he can improve versus left-handed pitching, he's got a real shot at this. The scout grades for him: a 40 on the hit, a 55 on the power, 30 on the run, 40 on the fielding, 60 on the arm. That's why they think if he can figure out the left-handed pitching, corner outfield could be a good spot. Also, possibly give Bryce a day off at first here and there.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, his injury kind of paused things for him. Yeah. And so this past year...
And that was what Preston meant, like just getting right back into it seamlessly.
Right, and after the minors ended, for him to still go get extra reps in the AFL for the Arizona Fall League, they said he excelled there in 22 games with the Scorpions that he was playing with, a 2.93 with a 426 on-base percentage, 889 OPS, 2 homers, 14 RBIs. Was also an all-star and got to be in the AFL Home Run Derby. So for him, it's just time, getting that consistent schedule, being able to play, not having an injury, but also outside of the baseball side of things with Gabe. Now, Tyler and Jamie, I did some research. Shout out to an article I read for Sports Illustrated Fan Nation. It was Jack Vita who wrote this, who had a sit down with Gabe and was talking to him about his upbringing. Now, if you didn't listen to anything else from the baseball side, these things alone will have you like, I like this kid. All right. So he listed 2 of his favorite shows growing up.
Let me guess, SpongeBob.
SpongeBob was one, and
what was it?
I'm Peppa Pig.
Peppa
This
Pig?
is Daddy Pig. So he's only 22.
Yeah.
So Peppa Pig, which hasn't been around that long, he said his sister used to watch it, and so he would watch it with her. But he's like, I'm not gonna lie, I actually didn't mind Peppa Pig either. It's kind of entertaining. Daddy Pig, George, Mama Pig. Like,
they really shit on Papa Pig a lot in that show. Poor guy. I mean, my God, give the guy a break. He works so hard, and they're always just like giving him a tough time. Poor Papa Pig.
It sounds
Daddy
personal.
Pig.
It sounds personal.
Daddy Pig. Because in Hollywood and TVs, the dad's always getting shit on. All right, can we be honest? The dads have it rough in most daytime, most TV shows.
I mean, at least they don't get killed off like the moms in Disney movies. So
well, yeah, that is traumatic.
But okay,
Poor
so
Bambi's mom.
all right, then his favorite movies: Passion of the Christ. He's a huge religious person. I know. I am scarred.
Favorite movie?
Scarred. He said it's a big time favorite of his, and he's into war movies like Fury and The Hurt Locker. Those are like real war movies. Wow. I do like a good, I was watching like Troy the other day.
Serious. I was watching Step Brothers.
I love movies like 300 and Troy and everything, but Passion of the Christ, I cannot watch that movie without crying, without wanting to go and like hug everybody I know.
I can't imagine wanting to watch that a second time.
I barely watched it the first time.
Yeah, let alone saying you.
Yeah. And then in his bio on Instagram, Jamie, here's the icing on the cake.
Oh boy.
You'll love this. 3 things in his bio on Instagram. Jesus. Well, there's more than these 3, but everybody has a little
Your
saying.
takeaway.
Jesus, sleep, Chipotle.
All right. You salvage yourself a little bit there with Chipotle.
So I was like, okay, you know what? He's grounded in faith. There's
Matt Deckard, I think this guy might be a serial killer.
He's grounded in faith. He likes war movies, but he also likes Peppa Pig and SpongeBob. Jesus, sleep, and Chipotle.
A lot going on there.
There's a lot there to process, but when I read all of it, I was like, I think I like him. I think I like Gabe.
All right, Gabe.
Grew up in Scotland. He actually could make history as being the first player in Major League Baseball from Scotland in 35 years, which is wild. The previous names, do you remember? Either of you know?
Say that again.
Oh, shoot. I lost the list, actually. He's Could be Scotland's first Major League Baseball player in 35 years. While I find,
I will have no clue. On
oh my gosh, I have to pull it up. I lost. I didn't save it.
Yeah, it's all right.
It's fine. Anyways, in 35 years, cool.
So there's our down on the farm report on old Gabe.
I'm gonna find their names.
I'm not sure I'm gonna be able to get over that favorite movie thing. I think I'm always gonna think
movie,
about
Passion
that.
of the Christ is that's a hard.
That's intense, man.
That's very intense. What is? And he's young. Like I don't know. I know you're religious, but like there's so many religious spiritual movies. To me, to have that be your favorite is concerning.
It's alarming.
Very, very much so. Okay, I found the other name.
By the way, guys,
what's that?
Tom Waddell.
That's what it is.
Is the last Scottish-born player.
Tyler, you would be faster than me. And then before that, it was Bobby Thompson.
Oh yeah,
and George Chalmers.
You remember brothers? No, not brothers. Never mind. I thought there were two McCormicks.
Oh, okay.
Never mind.
To answer Will's question in the chat, yes, that is the state of Florida on my hat. It's the golf club I played over the weekend.
Chuckle, actually.
So it's got a little star. It was a Pete Dye course. It was
did
awesome.
You buy that this weekend?
Yes.
Okay, Daddy Pig.
Yeah. So yes, that is the state of Florida. Will was asking, is that just the state of Florida on Jamie's hat?
Hopefully.
That's Old Marsh Country Club.
Well, Gabe was down in Florida playing baseball. That's where he grew up. So look at you connecting with Gabe in more ways than you know.
In the heart of baseball and golf land. All right, let's talk about Hector Neris, and then we'll get to Guess That Swing in today's Daily Positivity. Hector Neris signs a I believe it was 1 year, $9 million, if I'm not mistaken. Right?
Yeah.
Yes. With the Chicago Cubs. So our old friend Hector will be reunited. Well, not reunited, but united with the Chicago Cubs. 1 year, $9 million. Absolutely a deal I would have considered doing. Now, again, not my money, but it certainly looks like the Phillies are not going to be adding much more, because if you're not in for a guy like that, you're going to be going lower leverage guys.
Yeah.
That, maybe Jeff Hoffman type moves again. So 1 year, $9 million, my feeling. There's no bad 1 year deals in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, plus
I 100% would have done it.
He's got an option for 2025, and then the $9 million option converts to a player option at 60 games. And the total max with incentives is $23.25 million.
Oh, wow.
That's a huge. That's the incentives. I don't know what the details are of those incentives, but $9 million with up to $23.25 million in incentives.
I'm sure it's like leading the league in saves.
It's not
All-Star
easy incentives.
Game,
That's why
World
it's a high
Series,
price. But
it's probably so they got creative with it. Kudos to them. Show of hands, 1 year, $9 million.
Will I take that deal?
Would we have done it?
Oh, for myself?
For the Phillies. Not
kidding.
you, not Team Washington. Talking about the Philadelphia
sign
Phillies.
Me up.
Yeah, okay, we're 3 for 3. 1 year, $9 million.
No, I think that's a good deal.
Yeah.
The Phillies should have been able to work that out.
That's not going to kill anybody.
The only thing is, bro asked for $50 million and settled for $9 million.
I know.
It's like the worst management negotiating ever.
But we knew when he asked for that $30 million that it was just a negotiation tool. There was no...
Of course it was.
There was no authenticity to that or any way that was going to happen. But he was shooting a shot and landed with 9. And maybe his offers prior were less than 9.
Here's my question, and I know that the incentive stuff is there. How did he get less than David Robertson?
He got $4 million less than Craig Kimbrell.
So at least Kimbrell has pedigree.
Sure.
David Robertson's a nice bullpen piece, and he was good for a long time.
Year, yeah.
But Hector
Neris
posted a 1.7 last year. How did he get less money than David Robertson?
I guess maybe age and I don't know.
It's not like Robertson's young.
Yeah, Robertson's not young. You're right.
It is wild when you think about. At one point,
Robertson's 38.
Oh wow! I didn't realize he's 30.
He still owes us one, that bastard.
I will say at one point we were on the show, sitting in this exact studio, this one, not our other studio, talking about how the Cubs were the only team that hadn't done anything in trades or free agency since Craig Counsell, and then the only thing they did was Craig Counsell's massive deal. Well, since then, they have been active. Hector Neris, Showtime Inaga, and now, as MBDBDBF's pointing out in the chat, for the Phillies, the only offseason plan was re-signing Nola and nothing else.
What are you talking about? We got Colby Allard.
Oh my God, I keep forgetting about Colby.
How could you?
We got Colby Allard. We had a whole major edition of Colby.
Yes.
But it's like now I feel like the joke is on us.
It certainly feels like the Phillies' plan is basically to run it back. But I will
it's
say
okay.
this.
Say it, Jamie.
I think at the trade deadline, they will address something in a major way.
There it is. And we're in a better position than the Cubs, definitely. But in general, than we may even realize. So, yeah,
it's just not, it's a pretty boring, unexciting offseason.
So boring. It's so boring.
It looks like it's taken shape that the Phillies aren't going to do much. They'll probably add, another vet that the market wasn't there for them, that can be a camp body that compete in the outfield, and maybe another, lower signing bullpen arm. But it looks like, yes, we're pretty much running it back. All right, let's get to, I'll do today's positivity, and then we'll end on Guess That Swing.
Yeah.
So this is positivity point number 20. So we have four more remaining. I am going to go with the combination of Johan Rojas, Trey Turner, and Bryson Stott being the fastest 3 Phillies on a opening day, assuming if Johan doesn't make the opening day roster at this point, their offseason was a failure. So I'm going to go with a third of the Phillies lineup being the fastest base runners they've ever had, at least in the last, it's going to be up there. Like, 3 of these guys are absolute burners, and I think that speed on the base pass is going to help them out this year. You didn't have them, for whatever reason, Trey Turner wasn't running in the first half of last season at the pace he should have been. Johan Rojas wasn't even up. I think they'll take advantage of him even more this year. And Bryson Stott kind of has well above average speed. So I think the 3 of them, a third of the lineup being the fastest 3 I can recall off the top of my head, I think it's going to be an extreme positive for them and something new and a new toy and asset that Rob Thompson can implement and use. So I'm going to go with speed, basically. The Speedy Gonzalez, although I think Speedy got canceled. The Speedy Gonzalez
conversation.
Yeah, I think he did.
He did.
Poor Speedy, R.I.P. Big part of my youth, Looney Tunes.
Yes.
So I think the speed is going to be a tool that Rob Thompson has in his belt this year and should be positive for the Phillies. So there you have it.
Okay.
You guys look unimpressed.
I actually was just...
We're all reaching at this point.
We are, but I actually was just
I think
looking
that's
up,
real. Rojas, Stott, and Turner.
to be transparent in this safe space.
That's speed.
I was just looking up Speedy Gonzalez because every time you mentioned Speedy,
I always forget that he was canceled and I can't mention Speedy, but I did. So I think speed's real.
Andale.
Yeah, it's great, man.
So not okay. Okay, I like it. I don't know. Okay, because that's more bases. You're running faster. You're stealing more bases. You're getting to base.
Putting pressure
you're not
on
getting
pitchers.
out.
That's a third of the lineup that when they do get on base,
Okay.
the pitcher has to think about. And hopefully Rob implements them more. I'm all about making the other team make the play. So steal some more effing bases this year, please.
Okay, I like it.
The
I like
bases
where
are
you're going with
bigger.
that.
There's a pitch clock. Figure it out and use it to your advantage because a third of your lineup is blazing fast.
Be a little bit more aggressive.
Absolutely.
Try something. And it actually ties into what we've talked about before of we want to see the Phillies try something new. Mix it up a little bit. So maybe it is taking some more gambles and trying to steal bases. But okay, I like it. I like it.
Speedy Phils. You heard it here, folks.
Speedy Phils. There you go.
All right, let's get to Guess That Swing, in which Tyler says we're going to fail at massively.
If Tyler already said we're going to fail and this is really difficult, this is impossible. It's mission impossible, basically, because you've said the past ones were easy and they were hard.
All right, Tyler, hit us with today's.
I will say this. This is definitively sans the pitcher one, which I promise you it's not another pitcher.
Right,
this
good.
is definitively the hardest one, I think, so far. Doesn't mean you can't get it. It just means that you're going to have to dive a little bit deeper into your bag than we have recently. But here's your player.
Ooh, that just is...
That's MLB The Show generic
that just looks
34.
like the MLB logo.
Yeah, what?
That's like when you're making when you're making your player in the show and there's 700 generic stances you can choose from.
There's nothing specific here. I don't even know okay. Actually, I'm once again seeing left and right. I literally see him facing us.
It's right-handed.
This time I will give you that hint because it's a harder one. This is a right-handed hitter.
It's right-handed.
Okay, because I could also see it where his back is to us and the bat's on his left side.
All right,
Do you see
Tyler,
that now?
I'm texting
It's
you.
definitively a right-handed
Okay,
hitter.
thank you. Man.
I'm not going to think too hard about this.
Yeah, there's nothing specific.
I'm just going to
that
go
we
with
can
my
see.
gut, and I texted you, Tyler.
I don't know who we have and haven't done because I actually haven't been keeping track.
There's something about like how far back the right elbow is. I don't know. I guessed. I went with my gut. I'm not going to kill
You
myself.
said he's a right-handed?
Yes,
Yes,
he's right-handed.
he's a right-handed hitter.
That's what you're feeling the bat back?
I don't know. Like,
No, that's what I'm telling you.
I'm something about the right elbow and the way. I don't know. This is a hard one.
Can
You're
you
right.
just confirm that my person hasn't been done yet?
Jonathan Meat. This is 2006 to present day Phillies.
It's only 06
Oh,
on.
no.
So your person's
So
not.
Jim Eisenreich
You
is
can
not
guess that
eligible.
person every
Greg
day,
Gross,
Renee,
not
and
eligible.
it's going to be wrong.
Before.
Will, I actually do have to pee,
I
like really
forgot.
bad. So I need Renee
Wait.
not to take forever.
I forgot. Even I forgot the rules.
Marlon Anderson does not
Mike
qualify.
Schmidt is always my guess.
The hip twist is Dave P's focus here.
Oh.
Aaron
man.
Rowan, not a bad guess there, Mickey Durkin.
Oh, geez. I'm
Not
sorry.
who I guessed, but I did guess another center fielder. I have no confidence in this.
Okay, wait.
So
let me try this again.
I will give you one additional hint.
Oh. Wait, if you're giving a hint, that means I get to change my answer.
You can redact your answer.
That means
if you
I'm
want.
not right.
You're not.
Basically.
I'm gonna tell you, you're not right
You
now.
haven't heard that means you haven't heard a correct answer
Correct.
and Jamie's wrong
Yeah,
also.
correct.
Okay,
No,
good.
nobody's gotten it yet. This player had a really nice career. However, probably based on expectations of this player, underperformed throughout his career. And I will say this: his best years did not come with the Phillies.
Oh. His best years did not come
His
with
best
the
years did not
Phillies.
come with the Phillies, and based on what his
So he's not with the Phillies anymore.
Based on what
so
his
he is a decent prospect.
based on what his prospect expectations were, I would say while he had a nice MLB career and carved out a nice little role for himself, probably underperformed compared to what he was expected to be.
So that helps me with a few things. That person is not a current Phillies player.
Correct.
And that's all I got.
JD Drew is not applicable, Will. He gave you nothing as a
I don't
Phillies.
even know from 2006 on.
All right, my answer is submitted. Your hint did help me some. I
Okay.
think.
All right, so your answer's
My
locked.
original guess was Ben Revere, since that's already been stricken away because of the hint.
Ben-
So I guess Ben Revere, just because I don't know.
Ben just always makes
He
me
looks like a
Paul.
smaller guy to me. Yeah, I feel okay about my new guess,
Okay.
I don't know.
but not great.
I don't even know who to say.
We've already guessed Shane Daniel Duffy, but that's not a bad guess.
Also, his best years were definitively with the
Yeah.
Phillies.
Yes, that clue helped me not his best years away from here.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I'm.
No. I was thinking of a lot of center fielders going through my mind because I was thinking of another one that went to Houston, but I'm not going to say. But Renee,
Because of that, you're not going to say who it is. That's also wrong. It's a good guess. I know who you're talking
Wait,
about, but it's also
what?
wrong.
yeah, he was more slender than this guy.
Yes.
This guy has some decent sized thighs. We really get into dissecting the male body in Guess That Swing.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
Yeah. All right, Renee, I really have to pee.
I have no idea.
Will brought it up, and now I'm just hearing waterfalls in my head.
Don't go chasing
Yeah.
water. Did you guys used to do that also when somebody had to pee back in the day? You'd like
Yeah.
start. Okay.
The
I'm
amount
sorry.
of liquids my body had this weekend, combined with the amount of water and Pedialyte I've had in the past
All
24
right, I'm
hours.
gonna just text you a random person
Okay.
because I don't know. We did Mayberry already, right?
We did do Mayberry already. Correct.
Brother. All right, we're just gonna go random. I'm just gonna pick a name
All
out
right,
of a
let
hat.
us know when. Yeah,
me a
Mickey
second.
Durkin loves the thigh talks.
Yeah,
you know,
you guys
sometimes
love
you got
talking
to
about
break
butts
down a
and-
guy's wagon.
Butts and thighs.
Yeah, thighs. You know.
Oh my gosh. Don't go chase.
All right, did you submit?
No.
Renee, I'm gonna wet myself.
All right, your answer is in as well.
Do we have a correct answer?
No.
man. Screw this game.
Renee guessed Pedro Feliz. Jamie
Pete
guessed
Happy.
Marlon Byrd. Both answers are incorrect. This guy played 12 seasons in Major League Baseball, and his best years came from 2006 till 2008.
On which
he is
team?
a former Atlanta Braves top prospect.
Jeff Francoeur. Frenchie. That was a good hint because, yes, he was a Braves top prospect, carved out a nice career. But I believe he was once a top 10 prospect in baseball.
I think he was. And that's what I'm saying. He had a good career.
Yeah, he sure
played
did.
for 12 years. It's
really
pretty
good
impressive.
announcer, too.
But compared to what he was supposed to be, underperformed.
That's a good one. That is a good one. Frenchie.
How many more of these do we have?
A lot. Plenty.
Yeah.
I want a new game.
We're all losing.
I want a new game.
Looting
I'm gonna
builds
rebel.
camaraderie amongst.
I'm boycotting this like I'm boycotting the Super Bowl.
Gross bastard. That knows. Frenchie.
But the thing is, like, I can't. Okay, I gotta do some
Renee.
studying.
You don't.
I'm gonna
prepare. You
prepare.
don't have to wear this on you. It's not that serious. It's
feels
okay.
it.
No, he's a Braves homer. Okay, outside of Braves games, I think Jeff Francoeur is very good. He is definitely a favorite of the Braves. He did have an awesome arm, Jonathan Meat. I compared the Nick Castellanos spin around
Jonathan Might.
throw out to the Jeff Francoeur. Had a similar play when he was with the Phillies here. The spin around.
That's
throw
the other
out.
thing. It's hard to even remember when you talk about.
Yeah, there's a lot of baseball players.
There's a lot of baseball players and a lot that you forget were even here.
I wasn't thinking Jeff Francoeur at all.
Dang it.
All right, well, that wraps it up for.
Chasing
Yeah, well, I'm about to go pee somewhere really quickly. For Renee Washington, for Tyler Zulli, thank you for hanging out here with us at PHLY. Reminder, 16 days until pitchers and catchers, 59 days till spring, the season opener. And if you want to join us in Florida in mid-March, head to allphly.com, the events tab up top. You'll find the spring training trip. And yes, hopefully you're able to join us. Oh, I definitely had a couple hot dogs as well this weekend.
I love hot dogs.
Oh, glizzy at the turn on the golf course. That's up there with the ballpark glizzy. They're the best.
Do not flush your records in the toilet. Only CDs, guys. Don't flush tapes.
No.
Don't flush vinyl. I don't know how to clean
Okay,
those.
we'll continue the toilet talk tomorrow. I got to pee, Renee. That's it for us today at
Wait,
AllPHL.
do you have to go to the bathroom?
AllPHLY.com, PHLY Phillies podcast. We're out of here. We will be back tomorrow at noontime. See you then.
Bye.
We all silly like the mayor.